Hello, folks. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here. I see we've only got a few that have made it here so far from the premiere of episode 245. Michael Chica. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. I think it's great that Mike is part of it. That the father was part of the premiere, that he was in the audience and participating. Hello, Mary. Thank you for being here. And Nicole, good to see you here. I appreciate you being here. So, since we have Nicole in the group with us, Nicole, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what it was like to share your story, what the experience was like in the course of doing the interview and going through all of that. What was the experience like? Just to put you on the spot right away. I said it perfect. Well, I hope so. I try. Glow in the dark, welcome. Thank you for being here. Margaret says, hi, everyone. Mary's back. And Nicole is here. So that's off. And Mike is here. Mike, the father. Coaster Mom. Coaster Mom. Your name seems new. I appreciate you being here. For sure. Have we seen you in the group before? Nicole says, I was super nervous, but you made me feel calm, and I was a complete mess after. But I'm glad I was able to get this story out there. I was super nervous. And Nicole, do you remember what I said? I assume I said it to you. When someone tells me that they're nervous when they're about to sit down for an interview, my response is usually, yeah, I have that effect on chicks. Anyway. Yes, you did do great, Nicole. You really spoke from the heart. And I felt like it had a lot of impact because of how you spoke from the heart, that you really addressed the perspective of the living, and that's a big deal. That the people who see these a lot of times really need to have some guidance about how to take care of themselves. And I think that's great. It still has the lifesavers. Oh, the lifesavers. Holy cow. They are. I have 2 boxes of them right behind me. And they are a substantial nuisance to get. We have to order them from Amazon. You don't find those rolls anymore in stores. You can go to some place like Walgreens or CVS and you'll find bags of lifesavers that have individually wrapped candies inside. But that's not the same as the roll. The roll says right across lifesavers. And it's a great metaphor. So that's your signature. The lifesavers. Yeah, I do. I think I feel like the lifesavers are pretty brilliant. And we've actually been doing the lifesaver thing since 2011 or so, when we were working on a documentary project for the Houston Police Department about impaired driving, about DWI, particularly as it affects teenagers. And we interviewed victim families and people like that, and we would always give them lifesavers. So it is a long time tradition for us. Butterscotch are my favorite. Well, that's okay, Brenda. There's something wrong with you there, but that's all right. Butterscotch. I mean, butterscotch is okay, but I don't know. I like the tangier ones, and because what happens when I'm on the road, sometimes those lifesavers turn into my lunch, because that's what I've got in the car. We sometimes do some pretty substantial road trips, and that's what's there. So, that's pretty bad, I know. Cherry and lime. Yes, those are gold. I like those a lot. Cherry and lime. Oh my God. What? Glow in the dark. What? What did I do? What happened? What are you OMGing? What did I miss? Did I miss something? Lifesavers for lunch. Yeah. Well, on the road, you're on the road. I typically drive, 90 minutes or so without stopping, and then I'll stop somewhere to get coffee or use the bathroom or whatever. And if I'm hungry, I'll get something like hard-boiled eggs or something that is, relatively healthy. But, sometimes on the road, you just want some kind of stimulus, I guess. Ah, I guess you are what you eat. And then since you eat lifesavers for lunch, yeah, I guess. It doesn't happen often, but there really is. There is two boxes. We'll see if I can reach them. See, right here, lifesavers. We have to order these from Amazon. There's just no local resource. Once in a while, you can find a roll somewhere, but it's a challenge. So finding a place to go, finding a place to find the roll, that's a challenge for sure. Glow in the dark. Your name is also Nicole. Did I know that? Probably did, right? Robin, I never thought to mix cherry and lime would be like having a cherry limeade in candy form. You're so smart. Wow, we're getting into the good stuff here, aren't we? See, now I have this burning desire to open this roll now. So I'll just set it aside and leave it there. So, folks, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Can you tell me a little bit, for those of you who watched the premiere, tell me a little bit about what you thought. What stood out to you? What was most memorable moments, things like that? Robin says, yes, Brenda, I used to do that with those together. Yeah, cherry limeade. I can see that. Open one. Don't help me, Robin. Just no. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for sharing and for being patient. We shot that story in January, right? Right. We shot that in January, I believe. And And here we are in May, and we finally got the story edited. So it takes a while sometimes. We have probably 20 or so more stories that we have shot, but we have not edited yet. Yes, Jan, what? Nicole has as much addiction in her family as I do, made me feel less alone. Addiction and alcoholism. It is out there all over the place. Nicole says, you always think of more things to say after you leave. I'm ready when you come back. Nicole, you're killing me. We shot your story in Phoenix, right? It was part of a trip to Albuquerque and Phoenix. And I feel like it was in Phoenix. So, yeah, way too many stories. We published about 250 of them, or almost 250. And that's barely one day of loss. Well, gee, Nicole, teach you how to edit. We can actually do that. We can. So you need to shoot me an email and we can talk about it. All right? Yes, Phoenix. Yeah, I shot there with Beth Jolie. She was certainly a kick. Beth and Tara. They were both awesome. Brad in his 5-year plan. He's such a hero with the 5-year plan. Looking forward to the year 2030 and how things are going to be just how he wants them to be. It's just coffee before people start asking. Her brother hit it well, and how would she really, if he was partying with friends? How would she really know if he was partying with friends? Yeah, how do you know? You have to have a certain level of faith and confidence in your loved ones that the kind of decisions they're making are responsible and informed. And with fentanyl, the end result is you can believe you're informed and you're not. Demand reduction, awareness, prevention are all important. Absolutely. Demand reduction is that big thing that people don't talk about enough, it seems to me. That seems very much like the elephant in the room. Demand reduction. If we could do something about the demand, then supply wouldn't matter even a little bit. Yes, Nicole, it's in anything illicit that you can imagine pretty much. It's in counterfeit pills like Percocet now, Adderall and Xanax, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some, and it's also in cocaine and heroin. That some people tell me that there is no heroin anymore. It's just fentanyl and some filler, some binding agent or whatever. And there are some people that say it's in the weed. And yes, there are cases where it's been found in weed. Not many. There's been cases when there has been cross contamination. That it's not that the weed thing is a real sensitive topic because people who use weed, there's a substantial group of people who use weed and really are adamant about defending weed whenever someone in one of our stories says that weed is a gateway, or that it started with weed, that they get they get kind of upset. And so there are some cases where the storyteller says that it was in the weed, but finding evidence that indicates that it was in the weed, that's a bigger challenge, because it doesn't always get tested. And if the weed from the crime scene isn't tested, then you're just left with speculation. If all you have is a toxicology report, and in the toxicology report was weed and fentanyl, that's an indicator that the victim used both, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they were together. So it's a tough spot. It does happen. There are cases where fentanyl has been found in weed because of cross-contamination, because a lot of time, especially in places where marijuana is not legal, the same dealer that handled the marijuana also handles stuff that has fentanyl in it. And so there is this secondary cross-contamination. I don't see how you compare weed with fentanyl. No, you don't. But there are reports that it is in weed in some places. And there is a limited amount of evidence that supports that, but there is some evidence that supports that. In most cases, when fentanyl is found in added to weed, it's found to be an unintentional thing, a cross-contamination thing, that recycling a baggie that had counterfeit Xanax in it and then using the same bag, stuff like that. That's what we found. That I once interviewed a DEA agent who talked seriously about this fear that the agency had that it was going to start showing up in weed. And then when we shared the draft of the story with the DEA agents that helped us make it all happen, they said, yeah, you need to take out all of the stuff that references weed having fentanyl in it. And so we're getting a lot of mixed signals from experts and from parents and from weed defenders. One of our commenters referred to the weed defenders as being the pothead army. I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, let me catch up on the comments here. Yes, Nicole, I was wondering how families get past the anger having seen so many of these stories. It's in vapes, weed, gas station herbs. Yes, it is. Being in vapes is a thing. That's a bigger thing from what we've heard. I don't see how you compare weed with fentanyl. Yeah, okay. Hello, Carla. Thank you for being here. It's always great when you guys show up. You may not remember this, but I can remember when weed was mixed with angel dust. Bad stuff. Yeah, I remember that too. I do remember that. And it's never a good idea to trust an illegitimate source for anything, weed or any other kind of drug, because they're committing a crime right out of the chute. So how can you have a reasonable expectation for them to be doing the right thing? So I'm so glad that you clarify this and are breaking this down systematically. Yeah, Yeah, the weed thing in particular has been a real issue for quite a few people who comment on our channel because they use weed and they tend to want to defend it, and that's understandable and valid to want to defend it. And there is not a lot of evidence out there to support fentanyl being found in weed. It has happened. There's news reports. If you Google it, you'll find news reports from Connecticut and from New York State and several other locations. But it is rare. But that's hardly a consolation. It has happened. Deidre, I've worked on weed farms. Well, that's cool. I bet that was interesting. Robin says people could put that stuff in almost anything like food, sweets, you name it. How about meth? To see the before and after pictures are just terrible. Yeah, absolutely. Those there's a book that I think a law enforcement officer made called Faces of Meth. And just seeing that progression in the mugshots, it's pretty harsh. I think he's talking about street weed, not necessarily dispensary weed. That's correct. I'm not talking about dispensary weed. Dispensary weed goes through an inspection process that street weed does not. Now, I will also say that for dispensary weed, we have heard frequently that the testing process that happens on dispensary weed is inadequate, that there's so much margin for error built into the tests that they're not really credible. They're not really trustworthy. Nicole C, thanks. Okay, hold on. I asked because I am at almost 9 months and the biggest complaint is fatigue. Can I ask how is Can I ask how he is doing in the energy department? Yeah, the energy department. Nicole says, Brad, I have before and after as my husband on meth and fentanyl. It's horrible. Wait, what did I miss? See, once in a while, the display will just scroll on its own, and that sort of screws me up a little bit. I refuse to argue my point with anyone. I do know what I'm talking about, or I wouldn't mention it. Deidre, did I say something wrong? Don't trust anyone these days, and don't go to places with large gatherings. Shannon says they put it in anything they can make $1 off of because it's so addictive. They want more, and that's more money in their pockets. That's reasonable. He said he has moments, some days great, others not so much. His energy comes and goes. Yes, black market is what I'm talking about. Deidre, I don't know what not true is. They would be shut down in a New York minute. I don't know what you're. Is it something I said? The inspection process, I've been told by people who operate dispensaries, the inspection process is less than thorough, is basically what I've been told. It's thorough-ish, but not quite thorough. That's what I've been told by dispensary operators. I don't remember where they were. There isn't. It's so sad. There's no good stories about any of these drugs. Well, we do have the recovery series, Brad and Nicole. There's a series of recovery stories on our channel. There's a whole playlist full. There's over 40 stories of recovery on our channel that are basically the same format as the fentanyl stories, except they have happier endings. I'm falling behind. They would be shut down in a New York minute. I don't really know where we're at with that, Deidre. You never hear I was screwed up till I started doing drugs. I think you've made a good point there, Brad. That's cool. That's a good solid point. You don't ever hear that. Brenda says, Nicole, thanks. That is actually where I'm at, so I guess it will get better with time. Please tell him thanks. His answer gives me hope to have more energy to fight fentanyl in the future. Deidre says, unless they bring their own black market stuff themselves. Nicole says, of course, I am hoping next time Glenn comes, he will share his recovery story, but he's... I don't have a recovery story, Nicole. I don't. No, Glenn, you're right. Where can I get a cup, Glenn? We have a store on our channel. No, it should be on our channel, but it's not for some reason. I think it's because we have graphics on some of the t-shirts that say the word fentanyl. And since they say that, I think maybe YouTube decided not to let it be on our channel. So there is a link on our website. And I can also give you guys a link right now to our store, just in case. The coffee mugs, we've talked about this before. The coffee mugs are awesome. They're overpriced, but what's in your cup? Oh, I wish there was something in my cup. Here's a link to our store. And on our store, you can find t-shirts and coffee mugs and sweatshirts and hoodies and stuff like that. So, Nicole says, get the black coffee cup because it doesn't show grime. Yeah, it just stays clean. It's expensive, but holy cow, it stays clean. I never have to clean it. Just, I never see any stains or anything. See, I don't know if you can see inside there, but wow, that looks mighty clean. And holy cow, this may have never been washed. I don't know. And so it's got our Texas Pictures logo on one side, and then on the other side, it says stories that matter. So it's cool. I really like this mug a lot, but still, it's overpriced. It is. It says it's $18.99. But I can give you guys a here's a discount code for our store, and you get 25% off of anything on the store. You can use this code right here. It is primarily meant for members, but because you guys are here, we're going to share it with you too. Nicole Chica, yes, I'm trying to get my husband to do one next time you're here. Nicole, Brenda, where can I get it? The coffee cup. That you can get it at the link. It's just a little pricey. Margaret says, hit that thumbs up, guys. That's right, for this broadcast, for this I don't know, whatever you call it, live event. Hit the thumbs up so that, because that helps our performance in the YouTube algorithm. Brad, here's my thumbnail story. I spent 42 years building a wonderful life. Drugs tore it all down in 10. Yet to see what rebuild will take. Where am I? Yeah, it keeps jumping now and then. And Brad's 5-year plan. Okay, there's the code. Yeah, okay. Nicole sees husband recovery story, not yours. Okay. Coffee doesn't count yet. Okay. Now you were talking about my husband Glenn and his recovery. Okay, yeah. We can certainly do that. The recovery stories are really, for me, it's really important to have the recovery stories on our channel because it's a place where people can find hope. When we post a fentanyl poisoning story, a lot of times there'll be commenters who are in recovery or new to recovery or just wish they were in recovery. And to be able to point them to that playlist that's full of people who've got success stories, victories, being able to direct people to those things and help them on their pathway to recovery, it's awesome. So I'm very grateful to have those. Brad and his 5-year plan. Deidre, the only virgin drinks for us. Only the virgin drinks for us girls. Sometime storms coming this weekend. Oh, no, so we're down to talking about the weather. Wow, that's exciting. So, anyway, so you guys all have the link to the store now. Now, let me try to get back to where I was. And I see we have quite a few people with us right now, and that's awesome. Encourage people to change. Yes, absolutely. I still enjoy the occasional beer. Crazy Coonts back again from Australia. It's probably around 7 a.m. there again, I guess. And here, hope you're doing well. Just finished your shift. All right. Brenda, may I ask if you are clean? If not, I can help. I don't practice abstinence. Well, Deidre, if you're on a good path, you're on a good path. Brad, I am on day 258 clean of illicit fentanyl, almost 9 months, says Brenda. 258. See, I'm starting to remember that now, Brenda, because I keep hearing you say it, and the number just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and that's awesome. It really is. Carla's right. It is amazing. It's wonderful, particularly to have you here where there is so many difficult stories, to have that story of victory and hope and promise. That's wonderful. Glow in the Dark says, actually, Brenda, 5 was a number that popped into my head when I read your comment and just walked by faith and committed all to God. Margaret says, keep it up, Brenda. You can do it. You are doing it, Brenda. Brenda says, Deidre, I never liked beer, wine, or any other alcohol. It all tastes bad and gives me heartburn. Well, I do not agree. But I believe you. So Carla asks about a margarita. Because it could, there's margarita flavors out there that are much like that lime and cherry lifesaver combination. That's probably a good thing for you, actually, Brenda. Brad, are you a sponsor? Nicole is asking, Brad, are you a sponsor? Carla, I love a margarita girl. Girl, however you're supposed to pronounce that. I don't really know, but we are TPD. Nicole started to say something and then reconsidered. As see, is Nicole, was that something like the emoji you sent me earlier today? Maybe. As Nicole sent me quite the emoji. Margarita, a type of pizza here. Margarita is a type of pizza in Australia. I like a Singapore sling, a lot of lime, and a salted rimmed glass to boot. I was copying the code. Copying the code. Nothing like the emoji. Yeah, that was really funny. I knew right away it was some sort of whoops kind of moment, but it was just really funny. Crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy. Oh, the code for the store. Yeah, did you get it? I can put it up again. I think the code is called TPD members. There it is. That is the code. And that should get you 25% off of whatever. Love to everyone here. It is a cool space that we've got here. It is. There's always some new people. We have 40 people in the group, and we have 7 or 8 that are engaging in the chat. I'm sure that there's some people in the group that are watching just on their television, on their smart TV at home, and they can't figure out a way to participate in the chat. But the trick is, while you're watching it on TV, you can also watch on your phone, and you can comment on your phone while you're still watching on the TV. So that's our big, brilliant fix. Brenda's asking, Brad, are you looking up what a sponsor is, or did the new girlfriend show up and so you dumped us? Nicole needs an answer. There goes Deidre. Hello, V. Thank you for being here, lurking in the shadows. I appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate when other people participate. I know that there's more people here than what are participating in the chat, and I know it can be kind of asking a lot, but it's great when people chime in and share what they think of the story that just premiered, or what they think of the channel, or what they think of the storytellers, or whatever. I really value that. But guys, still only 2 thumbs up. Get going on the thumbs up. I show that we have 21 thumbs up. Nicole C. Brad might not be an official sponsor, but he is the best kind of support there is to have. I can totally see that. You can. I remember when I met Brad the first time in San Antonio, and there was just this. There was a kind of don't let this go to your head, Brad. But there's a quiet kind of strength to Brad that stood out to me, that clearly he's got a lot on his mind, but when you talk to him, you have all of him, and that's an awesome quality to have. V, I got 16 for you. 16 thumbs up. Oh, I get it. I'm slow. Sorry. Brenda says he has been able to get me to grin through some very dark days. Plus, he is Carla's dad and Rain's granddad. He is. Yeah, it's getting late, Brad. You've probably already had breakfast earlier this evening, right? Because that's what old folks do. And then so it's like almost 8 o'clock. It's probably going to be time to turn in real soon. So, Brenda, I'm here for all of you anytime anyone needs help, and you know Brad means it for sure. I thank God for Brad, my dad. He's always there whenever I need him. Brad is total hero material. And don't let it go. I'm still giving you grief about being an old guy. V says, hi, Brenda. Thinking of you always. Brad says, you kill me, Glenn. Yeah. That is me living the dream. V, what day are you on? I am so proud of you. So yes, V, what day are you on? How are you doing with all of that? First 90 days off of Oxy. So is it Oxy or is it counterfeit Oxy? So here's something that we hear about a lot in the comments on our channel. We hear a lot of political stuff. We hear a lot of commenters who say everything is all Biden's fault, or they'll say everything is all Trump's fault, or Obama's fault. We get those kind of political comments a lot, and it's no, it's not. Both parties have had a bite at the apple and didn't do anything, or didn't do anything substantial enough to make a difference. So, in fact, I'm going to show you guys something. This will be cool. So I'm going to show you guys a graphic. It's an animated graphic and everything. And I don't know where else we're going to use this, but I'm going to share it with you guys. I don't know what just dinged right there. But whatever it is, it can wait. So here it is. Here is the graphic. This is data that I found on the CDC website. This is data from 2008 to 2024, and 2023 and 2024 are just preliminary data because it takes a while to get all of the data sorted out. And so here's what happens with the numbers. And so that downtick is from 2023 to 2024, and it indicates it's a good sign. It's still, even with the downtick, it's a gigantically good number. It is. The downtick is good, but it's still a big number. It's still close to 50,000 deaths. Knock, knock. Yeah, I see. Ivy League flight nurse, 5,185 days by the grace of God. Good job, nurse. Crazy Koontz V coming coming off the SSRI. Just as bad coming off gear. So clearly you guys aren't very impressed with the graphic here. But so here's how it works out when you look at the administrations. But so the reason why I was showing that is because people tend to blame one administration or another administration or one political party or the other, and there's no evidence to show. Okay, if we get back to the end here. You know, I don't know why I did that. We'll try it one more time. And I hit that. Maybe it'll stay this time. So if you look at this, it's a pretty consistent trend upward until 2022. And then things start to change. But there is no indication why there would be any reason to look at that and assume that it has anything to do with which political parties in power, what administration it is. The decline could all be the result of all of the fentanyl awareness organizations that are out there. All right, so let me see where I'm at here. Brenda says, Ivy, way to go. Day 185 is amazing. Super proud of you. V says, thank you so much. Crazy. It's truly a different, horrible withdrawal. Brenda says, V, be nice to yourself. Funny, I never got sick when I was getting high. Once I got clean, I caught every bug, but as it came through town, I figured it was my penance to pay a small price to live clean. And the Ivy League flight nurse, thank you so much. It hasn't always been easy, but it sure has been worth it. My worst day sober is still 1,000 times better than my best day using. Bug. See, Brenda, I figured that out. I thought you probably meant bug. Maybe it's because more people are saving lives with Narcan as well as because they're carrying it. Yes, that can be it too. Which I think the result of that is in to some degree to the credit of awareness organizations making a big deal about naloxone awareness kind of stuff. The graphic to me, the graphic seems like a way to provoke some people, I suppose. There are some politically oriented types who really embrace one side and condemn the other just because of the side, not because of the substance of the debate. So we have right now we have 45 people in the group, so it says. And so who else can share with us? Who else who hasn't spoken but might have some questions or comments about the channel or about the story that we just premiered a little while ago, or almost an hour ago now. It's the demand for. I love hearing that. I feel like somebody heard me. Like that's the thing. That's like the elephant in the room. No one talks about the demand. The demand. Without the demand, nothing else matters. Like nothing else matters. If the demand goes away, fentanyl could be laying free out in the open on the streets, and it wouldn't matter because there's no demand. The glow in the dark says, but that's just a hypothesis, a hypothesis for speculation. I'm walking by faith and hoping that with the awareness and the Narcan being the main factor and why the decrease in numbers and will continue to. Bookworm, are you giving me grief, Brad? No demand. It isn't complicated. It's a business. The whole drug thing exists because there's money in it. Because of demand. If you want to put a business out of business, you have to take away their customers. You have to take away the demand. And in the case of drugs, the way to take away the demand is to have a better replacement. The better replacement could be going to the gym or playing golf, or I don't know what. Carla answered the question. What was the question? What did I miss? I missed something. Ivy League flight nurse. So you're new, right? I don't remember your name before. And so Ivy League flight nurse says, I have a sticker on my car that says I carry Narcan, and somebody vandalized my car twice. Once they tore the sticker off, and the other time they wrote, "Let all druggies die," in dirt on my back window. Really? Wow. That's terrible. We do hear, we do get comments on some of our stories now and then from people who have that kind of perspective. And what that means, I think, is that they just are fortunate enough to have not had an experience with someone dealing with addiction. Thanks, Brenda. I, yeah, I felt like the name seems real familiar. But it seems like it's been a while. I'm out of coffee. V, I can always tell when you have your readers because less typos. I thought of you last week when I forgot mine, so stopped at a dollar store for a pair for the truck. V says, yes, yes, Brenda, sobriety is teaching me so much that I missed. And that's the thing, that there's not enough. There's not enough understanding of what the sober side of things is like. Not enough understanding of what the free of addiction is like in terms of quality of life, in terms of freedom. In addiction, you are pretty much, your whole mission is to find your next source, your next deal, your next purchase. And then that's it. That just becomes like an all day thing. Where am I going to get the next one? Where am I going to get the next one? How am I going to pay for the next one? Ah, Brad. Sorry, I'm awake. I'm awake. Okay. Invisible handcuffs. What? I don't know what to make of that at all. Invisible handcuffs. Huh. Brad, not a bad drop of coffee. All right, so while I was drinking the water, I could actually see on the audio meter every swallow make the meter go up a little bit. Sorry if that was a little closer than it needed to be. Brenda score, use, rinse, repeat. Every day, no weekends, no holidays, no birthdays, just a slave to the drug. I have heard, invisible handcuffs. Okay, I get it. I have heard before that addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. Okay. So it's probably getting to be about time to wrap it up, folks. It is. Oh, it's 8:15 here. Flight nurse, no truer words have ever been spoken. Yeah, I like that expression. I feel like it is spot on. Wow, I'm awake. Methadone, etc., is called liquid handcuffs. That's a new one to me. Glow in the dark. Good night. Good night. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Remember, you guys can always reach out to me anytime. I saw a story with sheriff in a huge bust of fentanyl coke. I was wondering if that is an interest to Texas Pictures. If you can't answer, no problem. Thank you so much. Yeah, we've done a lot of work with law enforcement. We have a pretty good relationship with law enforcement overall, but we do also have some stories on our channel, particularly in the fentanyl series, that have been kind of critical of law enforcement. But overall, we have a good relationship with them. This story, V, where's that story? Where's that story at? That something like that. Here's the thing that bugs me about those big drug busts. Maybe we talked about it before, and I don't remember because all this runs together in my head. when when law enforcement agencies post pictures of these giant busts where they have several $1 million worth of illicit drugs, and there's also some firearms and a pile of cash and those kinds of things. What that means is that's what normally is getting by law enforcement, and they managed to nab one. It's not something that seems appropriate for law enforcement to brag about, because the dealer, the company selling the drugs, smuggling the drugs, whatever, wouldn't be taking that kind of risk if it wasn't pretty much a sure thing that they were going to get away with it. And so when a law enforcement agency posts a picture of a big bust, to me, what that's saying is, look, here's what they normally get away with, but we caught one. Caught one. It doesn't seem like something that a law enforcement agency should want to brag about. So I saw Orangutan. Thank you for joining us. We are really just about to wrap it up here, but glad you managed to stop in. That's for sure. Ivy, it took me 4 trips and law enforcement officer bracelets before I learned I was allergic to fentanyl. Slow learner. Kuntz is right. The main thing is that you're learning. You should always be learning. Learning is such a big deal. Learning, because with learning comes growth. You develop new perspectives. The perspectives that you already have evolve into being more informed and maybe adjusted to be more accurate or revised. But as long as you're learning, you're growing. And what could matter more than that? To grow, to broaden your life experience, broaden your palate. Growth is a big deal. V says, thank you so much, guys. You're all my virtual friends. Love you. Love you guys, literally. And Brad says, of course, don't forget about the 5-year plan. All right, kids. You guys are really awesome. You really are. You are here, and the way you support each other, it's wonderful. I feel very blessed to be a part of it. But it is time to start thinking about wrapping it up. So I wanted to before we close things down, we have almost 40 people in the group right now, and so I wanted to take a minute to ask if there is anyone in the group who might like to ask a question uh, to me or anyone else in the group about Texas Pictures or about the most recent premiere or about the next premiere, which should be in 2 days. And just see if there's anyone here who might have something to say, who might have a question or whatever. Ivy League says, but you finally learned, and that's all that matters. Each addict has their own individual path to recovery. There's no right or wrong way as long as it works. For sure. That's a big deal. That is a giant point to make, and a giant point to continually reinforce, is that there is no right or wrong way as long as it works. I think the key thing is that you have to be sincere about what you're doing. That's how it seems to me. So we are going to shut it down for now. We are going to wrap up everything, and let me say thank you. Thank you again for being here to all of you that are here. I'm very grateful for you being here. We will be developing some new stories. We also have an interesting possibility coming up involving stories from crime victims, and that's going to be that's going to be an interesting thing. But you finally learned, and that's all that matters. Each addict has their own individual path to recovery. There's no right or wrong. Yeah, I said that. God bless all of you. Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Good job, Brad. So, as always, I always like to remind you guys that you're welcome to reach out and contact me anytime. You can find my email address. Here we go. Here's the graphic. You can find my email address right there. It's at the top, info@texas-pictures.com. We're also on Facebook, and there's our website, texas-pictures.com. And on our website, you can find email addresses there, phone number, even a mailing address. Thank you, Crazy Coons. And so please feel free to keep in touch, reach out if there's anything we can do for you guys. And that's it for now. So thank you again for joining us, and we will talk to you guys next time. Good night.